Hey guys, how's it going? Richard here with Alien Bros, and after 2 long months, I am back with a few incredible new UFO sightings to share with you guys, and a bit of awesome UFO news. First though, let me just say to you guys, happy 4th of July, and yes, I know I'm a day late, and I also want to say that I've deeply missed you guys while I've been away. Many of you have probably been wondering where I've been at, and the answer is that my computer completely crashed on me, and I was unable to get another one until just a few days ago, but I am back now, and you can yet again expect constant quality posting from this channel, and I do apologize for the silence on my part. However, it feels blissful to finally be back, and to be able to share with you guys yet again the unexplained occurrences happening both on Earth and in space. Also, the intro song, if you guys like it, was by They Fell in Glory. A link to that song will be down in the video description. And after the UFO sightings, I have some news for you guys as well. Very intriguing stuff. I think you guys will really like it. Alright, so the first UFO sighting that I have for you guys was reported to MUFON and was captured over Rio de Janeiro, Brazil on November 16th of 2017. As always, the case number is down in the video description. The footage is actually 2 separate videos, which I will play back to back for you guys. So I'll go ahead and play you guys the footage and we'll talk more on it afterwards, alright? Here it is.
Parada esquisita. Porra é essa?
So definitely not a bad sighting. I just wish that this video was a bit longer, but this sighting is one of those highly observed triangle formations of lights that have become more and more common, but still just as unexplainable as ever. With a sighting like this, usually the first thing that I attempt to do is to try to verify if what we're looking at is drones or not, because drones have been mistaken for UFOs in these types of sightings a ridiculous number of times. However, I found a pretty good method of determining if what we're looking at is drones or something else. In the case of this sighting, the formation seems to remain far too stationary in the sky for it to be drones, with no movement that seems atypical to a drone. Judging from the position of the person taking the video, I believe that these objects are around 20,000 to 25,000 feet up in the air. You can see what appears to be a star up above the objects on the right side of the formation, and judging off of this and factoring in the depth perception, we can make a rough estimate of how high these objects are up in the sky. This of course cannot be confirmed as explicitly accurate, but it is an educated guess, and in this case there is not very much else to go by, so it is more acceptable than no guess at all. If you can think of a better way to gauge the flight height and position of these objects, then please feel free to let us know down in the comments so we can factor it in with the facts of this sighting. Now, before I go any further, the one who submitted this video did make a statement on it, although he was not the person that actually filmed the sighting. He does, however, include information from the actual witness, so I've decided to include it in his statement to give some more details on the sighting. He is not a native English speaker, so I did have to make some grammatical corrections for the statement to make sense. However, I believe the corrections are accurate and represent the message that he was trying to convey. The statement reads, and I quote, "A video of a UFO fleet hovering in the sky. A friend of mine made 2 videos with an iPhone 7 showing a fleet of UFOs hovering at Anejo Novo, Rio de Janeiro City, Brazil. He described the UFOs as pulsating lights changing colors, from blue to green to red and to yellow, mostly in formations of 3. They came from nothing and disappeared to nothing, and the sighting lasted approximately 5 minutes. The videos are attached." That is the end of the proxy source's statement. So, the source's statement does claim a couple of things that the video actually does not line up with, which I am sure you guys noticed right off the bat. However, there are certainly explanations as to why. The main discretion being the claims that the lights change colors. Although this isn't displayed in the video, it is likely that these lights did actually change colors. There are 2 reasons why I have not fully dismissed that statement, with the first being that the witness claimed that this sighting lasted for 5 minutes and only recorded for a total of 41 seconds. It is entirely possible that these lights exhibited this behavior while the source was not yet filming. I'm not sure why the source did not film the entire sighting. However, there are always plausible reasons for that to be the case, such as a lack of available memory on his phone or his battery being low. If these are not the reasons for the short duration of the footage, then I'm not too sure what the reason could be, and I have definitely taken that into account as well. Now, the second reason why I have not dismissed that statement is because it is entirely possible that due to the distance of the objects, it was simply too far away to have been picked up by the iPhone 7's camera. I do not own an iPhone 7 though, so I have no experience with how their cameras film lights from a distance, so if any of you do and I am incorrect, then please let me know and correct me down in the comments. The reasons I listed are obviously not foolproof, but they are plausible enough explanations that I have not dismissed the statement. Now, the next part many of you will likely question is the part where he states that they were mostly groups of 3, since the formation on the left arguably contains 6 paired in one group, and it could be argued that the formation is simply a triangle, but likely only a section of one entire group containing more objects. This is somewhat subjective. If we decide to group the 4, not 3 as the source suggested, in the triangle shape as their own separate sector, we are simply rationalizing the shape into a group since it is a shape we know of. It does not actually mean that the others, which appear to be outliers, are not part of that group. However, the opposite could also be argued, which makes again this subjective without actually knowing if these objects were meant to all be part of a single formation or not. It is also arguable that the formation on the right is not actually a triangle, but instead is a rhombus due to the 4th light at the top, which is easily ignored when the eye decides to perceive it as a triangle, and labels the 4th as an outlier. Again, the shape and grouping is subjective, but there is one agreeable aspect to these lights, and that is that their perfect synchrony in these formations, their fading or pulsating lights, and their brightness, which likely indicates they are large in size and certainly all separate objects, and not anything triangular such as a TR-3B. These types of lights have been common all around the world, especially in the Americas, both south and north. Much like the sighting, the objects tend to remain stationary or have very little movement and lack any flashing aviation lights, making them illegal to fly in most airspace. I will not say that these objects are extraterrestrial, government, or anything of the sort. However, in my opinion, they are certainly unknown. If you guys have an explanation for this sighting, similar UFO footage, or saw the same object and know for sure what they are, then please send us over an email and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Alright, let's get to the next clip. This UFO sighting was captured over Houston, Texas on April 29th of 2018, and this UFO sighting is far different from the clips that we normally share on this channel, but it is certainly one heck of a sighting. I actually found out about this sighting well over a month and a half ago, however I couldn't post on this UFO sighting since I didn't have a computer. The type of sighting that I am about to share with you is one that has been spotted for a very long time, especially in Mexico, and usually is contributed to witchcraft. However, I personally don't believe in that sort of thing, and I think that these sightings have other explanations, usually normal, and others like this one, not so normal. Anyway, I won't keep you guys waiting any longer. I'll go ahead and play the footage and we could talk more on it afterwards, alright? Here it is. So I'm sure that many of you guys have seen sightings similar to this one, and possibly even this exact sighting. However, I've wanted to share this for a while now, and felt that it certainly was worth showing you guys, especially for those of you that haven't seen it yet. Now, more often than not, these humanoid UFO sightings are explainable. For example, in the case of La Bruja in Mexico, which I'm sure most of you have seen before, and for those that haven't, I highly recommend you search for it on YouTube once this video is over. But the main explanation for that sighting was that they were body-shaped balloons. Now, this sighting was never actually proven to be a definite fact, but it certainly was the most widely accepted explanation. This sighting, on the other hand, bears a few different characteristics that give me a hard time believing that this is a balloon. To be more specific, the object is clearly in control of its movements. Rather than simply flying straight up into the sky, it slowly flies left on the screen, rather than simply flying straight up like your typical helium balloons would do. Instead, this object is actually flying straight without ascending much past the tree line, and even descends a bit at one point in the footage. This object is very clearly under some form of intelligent control. However, the question to then ask is, who is controlling this unidentified flying object? I don't think that this could be a drone. It looks far too large and would be a very ineffective design for a drone. I have never personally seen a humanoid-shaped drone either, and I think that it may be pretty safe to rule a drone out as an explanation. Now, could this possibly be someone using a jetpack? I would have to say that is highly unlikely. Maybe if this were military and occurred near an active installation, then I could see that possibly being the case, and maybe that is the case, and if so, then I honestly think it's pretty cool that this person managed to film it, but I still have my doubts. Members of the public very rarely, if ever, have access to such technology, and I don't think the military would be out testing this type of technology where the entire world could see. Now, the witness also submitted a statement with this sighting, and it reads, and I quote, "Never thought I'd have something to add. I just observed this in Houston near Memorial Drive and Shepherd. The object was moving north-northwest, was keeping the same elevation, and didn't move like balloons. This was a much larger vertical structure, like a floating tower, with a pointed tip at the top. Don't know what the hell that was, and I'm freaking out a bit." That is the end of the witness's statement. So yeah guys, whatever this thing is, it is certainly not something that you see every day. Let me know what you guys feel down in the comments, and if you have any more information on the sighting or have seen something similar, then please feel free to send us an email. Alright, now I want to get into a bit of news that was just released, and I found it to be extremely intriguing, which I mentioned to you guys earlier. As it turns out, newly released secret files have released that British spies plan to capture a flying saucer and use its alien technology to build super weapons. Even after the Cold War, there were fears that the Soviet Union or China had impounded a UFO and were harvesting its secrets to develop super-fast warplanes that can hover in midair and be invisible to radar. Many of you may have already been well aware of the coveted Kapustin Yar incident, which we have delved into thoroughly before in past videos on this channel, and if you haven't, I definitely recommend going back and watching them to get yourself up to speed. This is an incident that supposedly happened exactly 1 year after the Roswell crash in 1947, where Russia supposedly shot down a flying saucer and harvested its technology. It seems that Britain took this rumor quite seriously, and the more we learn about the involvement of major governments in the UFO phenomenon, the more the cover-up begins to unravel. During this time frame, the intelligence service chiefs urged the British government to be on the alert for sightings of strange foreign aircraft showing sinister signs of extraterrestrial tinkering. A dossier obtained by British X-Files expert Dr. David Clarke reveals the government was running two UFO desks: the public UFO desk, which was only set up to gather reports of sightings, and the real work, which is being done by the experts from Defense Intelligence. For half a century, spy bosses pored over reports convinced they represented as grave a threat to the realm as the Soviet Union, but by 1997, the word had come down from Whitehall that the security services investigating X-Files stuff such as alien abductions had become a diversion from their main duties. A review was ordered to confirm that the desk should be shut down, but also to determine whether anything had been learned over the years which would be useful to the military. The dossier reveals that the RAF were particularly interested in any novel technologies which might be useful to their programs. The confidential memos also added that propulsion, stealth, and any novel electromagnetic technologies are of particular interest, but the report by a senior Air Force commander reached the conclusion that an enemy power may have already obtained a UFO and had it in its grasp. Monitor all reports in case of the future to the hitherto unknown/not understood underlying phenomenon is being exploited by another nation, he wrote. An actual or potential enemy could develop a flying device with the characteristics that these phenomena seem to have. Particular attention should be paid to any aircraft behaving like a UFO with the telltale signs of high velocities, sharp maneuver, stationary flight, and a few radar returns, he added. The report, called UAPs, or Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, in the UK Air Defence region, is part of 3 files running more than 1,000 pages long. They were held back from the UFO records earmarked for transfer to the National Archives as part of the Open Government Project from 2008 to 2013. But earlier this year, a complete set of the redacted copies was sent to Dr. Clarke, ahead of their release to the National Archives, which is imminent. Dr. Clarke said the Ministry of Defense had been desperately trying to delay the release of these formerly secret and highly sensitive papers for more than a decade. Even though they have been partly censored, they can't conceal the fact that the UK military were interested in capturing a UFO and obtaining UFO technology, or what they coyly refer to as novel weapon technology. And the files reveal that they were desperate to capture this technology wherever it came from, before the Russians or the Chinese got hold of it first. Although this was 1997, Russia was still regarded as an undefeated enemy with a weapons program regarded as a threat to the West. Of course, we all already knew that Russia was a perceived threat, but why would Britain worry about something that was back then considered to be a conspiracy theory lunacy that only some lunatic would think is real? Unless, of course, there was some truth to it. It is well known that the US and British governments are allies, and it is common for close allies to share secrets with one another. Maybe the United States, which was also exposed as to having been involved in researching this phenomenon until this very day, gave the British government a heads up out of fear that they would need help to spy on the Russians and Chinese to prevent them from obtaining the same technologies that the US government obtained from Roswell and Maury Island. Is this a confirmation that we still haven't even scratched the surface of the United States' involvement with these UFOs and the technologies that the country possesses? I think it's likely, but I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about this down in the comments. I think it is fitting that as the information on UFOs and our government's involvement with them seems to be leaking out, we are also seeing attention turn towards the US government's goal of obtaining a sixth branch of the military, which President Trump dubbed the Space Force. Of course, this has been a goal of the United States long before Trump ever brought it up. It was announced back in 2016 that we would have a Space Force ready by 2019, although it seems to have slipped a lot of people's minds. The reality is, though, that we've had the idea of a Space Force in mind since at least 1959, when Project Horizon was introduced with the goal of creating a lunar military base. This fixation on militarizing space has been in the forefront of the government's mind for decades, and in my opinion, I think they have already made their way out there and set everything up, and are just now revealing it, trying to do it without giving any reason other than patriotism. That may sit with some people, but I think there is a lot more to this than any of us know. There must be some sort of threat for us to want to invest trillions of dollars on a space branch of the military. If not, then this could be a race to farm resources, such as the helium-3 on the moon, which is in great abundance there and is considered to be extremely valuable at about $40,000 an ounce, meaning that about 220 pounds of the stuff would be worth roughly $141 million, and the moon has tons of it. These are just my theories, however, I think that they are the only ones that I've thought of that truly make any sense. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. It has been so long since I've heard from most of you guys that I'm excited to get your inputs on all this crazy stuff that's been happening, and I'm so just glad to be back. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today, but stay tuned because there is a lot more coming, and we will have it posted very soon. If you liked the video, then please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out, share it, comment, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. It really helps us out, and it'll let you guys stay up to date by sending you a message straight to your inbox every time we upload a video, and you can stay on the up and up with all the latest alternative news. Also, if you want updates on when our videos will be coming out, then please go follow our Facebook page. The link is down in the video description. If you have some UFO footage or evidence that you would like us to feature on the channel, then please email it over to us, or email us down in the description as well, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you guys want to help keep this channel going strong, then donating even $1 a month to our Patreon would be very, very deeply appreciated, because YouTube isn't paying us, so this is all out of pocket for us. However, we love it, and we won't be quitting anytime soon. Thanks for your support, guys. It means a lot to us, and don't forget to browse the channel if you're new and get yourself up to speed. As always, I'm Richard with Alien Bros, and I'll see you guys again next video.